Naming is the last part of it. I don't have a concept. I don't really sit down with concepts as far as whole albums. I mean, like my albums, if they're cohesive, it's because they're made in a certain period of time, and that's it's kind of like me transforming over that period of time. I think like as much as my albums do kind of have similarities, they are all different as far as the feel of them, and they've kind of been slowly evolving in this kind of direction. But the names, I kind of sit back when I'm done with the first version of the songs, like when I'm done with this preliminary version of the song, I'll sit back and be like, all right, what does this sound like? Or if there's something I had in mind, like an inside joke, they're usually inside jokes. They're usually like, it's never that serious. I usually just kind of, or just a name of something, like the album, my new album is going to be called Funeral Balloons. And that's something that I thought of months ago. I just thought that was a funny phrase. And I was like, oh, I knew I was going to name a song that, but when it was time to name the album, I was like, oh, Funeral Balloons. It's kind of weird. And so yeah, it's totally arbitrary though. It's not really. There's never any basis on why anything's named anything. The way I put together albums is such a stretched out thing because I make the beats first, and then I go back to them, and then I compile them, and then I tear them apart and put them back together, and then I sequence them. So it could be like really my process of a new album pretty much starts the second I start making new beats after the newest album's finished, and that could be 2 years. But it's not like I'm working hard 2 years in a row. I'm slowly compiling and building a artillery of things I can go to. So yeah, it's not really there's I can't really count it. Like this last album I've made the last couple of years, but when it came time to actually sequence stuff and put it together, like the actual song composition part was quick. Like I got through maybe 16, 17 songs of very early, rough drafts in probably like 3 weeks. I was just doing one a day and then fine tuning it a little bit. But so yeah, it just depends how prolific I feel. My daily life is pretty loose when I'm not working on music. The thing is, I'm always working on music in a very relaxed way. It's rare a week goes by when I don't, but there's many days go by when I will not even think about it. So I'll get up, fuck around on the internet for an hour or two, and then go eat, come home, do whatever, watch TV, go meet up with friends, go play basketball. Play a lot of basketball when I'm able to, when my body holds up for it. I hang out with friends, and it's pretty. I go out every now and then. I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm not really a party animal anymore. But I just kind of live a very leisurely life. Touring is like a necessary evil. It's not, but it's not totally evil. Like I like doing shows. I like getting to travel and see places I would otherwise not see. I don't like traveling. It's not like I'm scared of flying. I just don't like being in airports. I don't like waiting. I don't like being trapped in a thing for 5 hours and just looking at whatever the fuck I'm looking at for those 5 hours. I don't like, there's a lot of just downtime. It's kind of boring. It's kind of lonely. But you kind of have to do it, and it's now that records don't sell, it's kind of, that's how we make our living as musicians. But that said, I don't dislike it. I I do it because I'm able to, I'm lucky to have that opportunity, and it's way better than ever being at a desk working at a job, and I get to go home eventually and then I hang out, so it's all right. There was never any backup plan. There was no forefront plan. I would just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. I didn't really do music professionally as my only job until I was like 27. I was a working job until I was 27, and I was a college dropout. I had no major. I was working in a bakery. I worked only shitty jobs. I imagine if I didn't do music, I'd probably be a struggling writer, or a writer of some sort, maybe a screenplay writer, doing something in the realm of writing, but I'd probably be a bartender, I imagine, if this didn't work out. And that's because I never had the desire to learn. I hated school. I don't care. I would just zone out and just kind of look off in the trees for the whole day. So I know I wouldn't be going back to school to learn anything. So yeah, I'd probably have a pretty shitty life if it weren't for music. Beat Street was a thing. I can't say that Beat Street was the first thing that... Okay, Beat Street was the first thing that I ever recall being like, oh, that's hip-hop. Not even hip-hop. Like, I like what that is. I was 7 or 6 when that came out. And my mom took me to it, which is crazy because my mom was like, what the fuck is this? And I had the soundtrack on cassette that I bought at a flea market a couple years later. And I was obsessed with the Christmas rap. But even that, I don't think I had like that definitive taste. I was also listening to like Eye of the Tiger and like Greatest American Hero theme song. It wasn't like this thing like, I was like, I love hip hop. But I would say 7th or 8th grade, so I was probably 10 or 11 when I really got obsessed with it. Maybe, no, okay, 11 or 12, where I just like on my binder at school, I was just writing all the rap names. I would fucking watch Yo MTV Raps. I'd watch Video Music Box, which is a famous kind of more underground video show in New York. And just everything. I'd go out, buy tapes and I forget what, I don't remember. I would say honestly that what got me into it was probably dirty rap. Like as a kid, like 2 Live Crew was the first, as when you're like an adolescent and you're, going through puberty and you're jerking off 15 times a day, you just like dirty things. And that spoke to me. And none of that, and like rock never did that to me. I never went through a phase of like, oh, I love classic rock, I love Led Zeppelin, I love Pink Floyd. Like I never went through that. I was always like, from not really caring about music to being like, I love this shit, and that's it, and that's all I listened to for until my 20s. I didn't even. Some things would slip in here and there, but there was never. I was very much focused on that. Me and Aesop meeting. I mean, that is probably the defining point of my career, because without him, I wouldn't be here, because. I'd probably still be rapping. And I met Aesop at Boston University, my college that I went to for 1 year, and we kind of connected on being these nerdy hip hop guys, obsessive hip hop guys, and he rapped for me. And I was like, oh my god! And I wasn't making beats at that point. Oh no, maybe I did. I feel like I may have gotten a sampler at that point, but he. Yeah, I just met him and we would rap together, and then he was making beats, I was making beats, and he moved to New York eventually. But his success was what kind of gave me any sort of shine. So without him, who knows what would have happened. I like the Australian culture. I think it's pretty chill. I think it's very similar to American culture, but with little things that are just, it's like being in the bizarro world of America. I feel the same way when I'm in parts of Europe too, honestly, but just words are different. Everything that I feel like I take for granted things that are so obvious. Like I've been asking people for Advil here and they're like, what? I'm like, ibuprofen, and then you have a different thing here. It's like everything's a little different. It's like, oh, is that a table? Like, no, that's a topper. Or like, that's not a real thing, but I'm saying it's like little things like that where you kind of, you just don't really know what's the right word to say sometimes, but you guys understand everything I say, so I might not understand everything you guys say. I think the Aussie slang is adorable. I think it all ends in like O and I, and it's like it's a snooky and a dicky and a doco, and I look at everything is it's just cute. Like I don't know, like you guys make everything sound cute. Like it's like a murdero, like a rapio. It doesn't matter. I've gone through many different incarnations of drums that I use, but I tend to have I have a library and I kind of pick what's right. But snares are one thing, hi-hats are one thing, because you can have a wide variety. But good kicks are the hardest thing to find. So I tend to use the same like 15 kicks for every beat. Like it's rare I use a brand new kick out of nowhere, where I have these kicks that I like. It's like a good 808, a good thumpy low, just normal bass kick. Those I kind of stick. Those are the ones I kind of stay true to. But the snares is always you can do a lot with snares. But kicks, if I want that low end, I got to go to these certain snares.
Hey, motherfucker.
I mean, you know, I've chopped stuff up. I put it in reverse. I put effects on it. The most famous thing I could think of is the vocal sample on Insomniac Olympics, which is the thing, or that high pitched squealing sound that people are like, "What is she saying? What is she saying?" And I don't know what she's saying because I did it on purpose, because whatever she was saying made no sense. So I pitched it up, put an electric guitar effect on it, and fuzzed it out so you couldn't understand what she's saying. And but I wasn't hiding that to hide it because it's a famous sample. I hid it because I didn't want the words to become part of the song. I wanted that the singing, the vocal timbre or whatever to be the main part of the song.
And so with Triptych on
I made in 1997.
Wow.
And I basically, it was, you know, a Dinah Washington song, and I kind of was playing around, and my sampler had a keyboard, and I found the key that worked, and I was like, huh, yeah, and they all kind of worked, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder if I could just kind of make a round of some sort with these, and it just kind of worked out like that. When you have a keyboard sampler, it definitely opens up a lot of capabilities, or a lot of like ideas that you would not have otherwise with layering samples, because you can do like, you know, you can do harmonies within the samples as long as the timing of the sample doesn't.
That's ASR 10 business.
Yeah, the ASR 10.
Have you ever felt like Ferris Bueller with the
So my new album is still in the works, and it's called Funeral Balloons. It's almost done. I'm touring a lot this fall, so it's going to be kind of a slower process than if I was home the whole time. But before I put that out, I'm putting out a free album that's going to be have vocals and have and instrumental tracks as well. So it'll be a nice mixture of stuff, just to, you know, just kind of whet the appetite of the people out there. And I know people like free shit, so you can never have enough of that. And people will probably, you know, illegally download the album anyway, the real album after. So, you know, 2 free things.